got love for you, man. You know what I'm saying?
What are we talking about? You know, I'm not here to start any trouble.
I'm only going to say nice things about you from now on. I think you're handsome, and I think you're a wonderful host.
I'm fat and I'm overweight.
Just don't say anything silly.
I was waiting for you to say that.
I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take this serious.
You know, I don't want y'all to take anything out of context that I'm saying.
He's very funny. He likes to joke around a lot.
As a personality and as an entertainer, yes.
This is going to be really quick. I'm not taking any questions.
Go ahead and get comfortable. I'm going to talk for a little bit.
You're listening to Cabbie Presents, the podcast.
Welcome to the latest. I'm happy to have you here, as you're probably anywhere in the world. But for the next half hour or so, you're here with me. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone in the audience taking in the show, digesting the show, embracing the show. I'm your host, Cabbie Richards. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at @TheRealCabbie. But you probably already knew that because it took you here. And again, as always, I love the comments, negative or positive. The feedback is great on iTunes. The shortened NHL season is over. The shortened NHL regular season, that is. And now the playoffs begin. It's an exciting time in the sports world. I mean, the NBA is in full playoff mode / hipster fashion mode. And shout out to the blogs that compile all the photos of NBA stars in their interesting fashion choices. I love waking up to seeing like whatever Russell Westbrook or Brendan Jennings or James Harden have wear it into the arena or during the press conferences. Those are great. The NFL draft just happened over the weekend. And baseball has like another 8,000 games to be played. And it doesn't really get exciting until like September. So I'm going to stick with hockey for this conversation with a young player that rebounded in a big way, a team-leading way. As the playoffs are about to start, we cover all the facets of his resurgent season in the intellectual way that I like to conduct interviews. So we'll start with food, and we'll end with girls. My guest is on the phone right now.
If it's going to be an interview, I'm going to conduct it. So I'll answer my own questions, ask myself the questions, then give y'all the answers.
The last time I saw this man, we were marveling at the shape of the legs of Wayne Simmons, which can only be described as number 2 pencils tucked into a pair of Chuck Taylors. Currently carrying his team in St. Louis into the playoffs, leading in goals and points. Chris Stewart has broad enough shoulders to do that, despite the fact that he cut brown rice from his diet, which we will get into. A huge fan of stand-up comedy. We spent a good 30 minutes in the foyer of the Sony Theater recalling jokes from a Kevin Hart show. I'm pleased to have Chris Stewart of the St. Louis Blues on the podcast. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Cabbie. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. On Twitter, you can follow his life, his adventures at CStewSTL25. That's CSTEWSTL25. All one case. Where are you right now?
I just got home from practice, and I'm at my condo in St. Louis.
So in the intro, I referenced this Kevin Hart show. Are you one of those people that have like a photographic memory? And by that, like, can you remember jokes when hearing them?
Oh man, that show is unbelievable, and I do. It's one of those things where you're on YouTube for like an hour before looking up all the stand-up comedy, and it's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen live.
Dude, and shout out to the opening acts too. Like I can't remember any of their names, unfortunately, to give them some love. But if anybody listening goes to has plans or would like to go see Kevin Hart, do it, because his opening acts are easily worth the ticket of admission, the price of admission, and then obviously Kevin Hart takes it way over the top. But I definitely recommend it. Have you seen a show since then, a live comedy show?
No, I haven't. He was actually in St. Louis, but we were out of town on the road. You know, it's funny how that happens. All the good stuff happens when you're out of town.
My friend Justin always, and I can't remember what he said, he calls it missing out syndrome. Like he feels like if he doesn't go to a certain party, he's missing out. He always feels like if he doesn't go to stuff, he's missing out. So in that way, when you're away from home, it seems like all the good stuff is happening in St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's a podium of stand-up comedians, okay, of the comedians that make you laugh the most on a consistent basis, who's on the bronze, who's on the silver, and who's on the gold platform of that podium of stand-up comedians?
I mean, for bronze, you know, you got to pay homage to Chris Rock. You know, he's a veteran guy there, and you know, kind of set the ground for all the comedians who were up and coming. And then, you know, number two, I'm going Dave Chappelle. You know, his you know, his first two Chappelle Show stand-up series were unbelievable, and it's one of those ones whenever it's on TV, it's a must-watch. And you know, the gold medal, new school, I'm going Kevin Hart. You know, it was funny yesterday. Ryan Reeves actually sent me a text message video of him in 40-Year-Old Virgin in the store scene there. I kid you not. And he's like, and you know, like I said, you know, they're both repping the Smart Tech crew.
You know, I actually had Romney Malco on the podcast, the dude who plays, I think his character's name is Jay.
Jay.
In the movie, and you know, he's like, you know, you got to look with your peripherals. We got to get you, you know, we got to find you a couple of chicks just to run through. And then obviously that scene that you mentioned, like, it's like, you know, he's just been served. Not get whatever the.
Yeah.
Obviously we can't say some of the language that was in that scene, but it was amazing.
Oh man, I know. He's like, he's good. I served him now. He served him. He's a little misunderstood, but
yeah.
Now he's good.
Chris, I noticed that there's a certain theme in the comedians that you have on your podium.
Oh,
what's the common denominator, Chris?
It's to each his own, right?
Yeah, they all have short hair. They all have low fades or they're bald.
Exactly. They all got the fresh lineup.
Did you see? I guess you didn't see Dave Chappelle when he came to Toronto. Have you ever seen Dave Chappelle in concert or in a theater?
No, I missed him when he was in Toronto. Actually, my best friend at the time took my brother.
Wait a second. Wait. Wait a second.
My ex-best friend took my brother to the Chappelle show. His mom thought it would have been a good idea to take Anthony, and so. You know, shout out to Quitter.
Sorry, did you say Quitter?
Quitter, Rob Quit. That was his name. He took my big bro.
Is this the reason why you guys are no longer friends?
No, you know that. I got my priorities straight after that move. That's for sure.
So you're in St. Louis now, and you know, you mentioned your older brother. Shout out to Anthony Stewart. I met him before I met you, and I met him in Barbados due to Kevin Weeks. So shout out to Kevin Weeks, who had these golf tournaments in Barbados. And I met you in 2008 when I was covering the NHL playoffs. We covered the Avs when you were with Colorado, the Avs versus Wings series. So, and I remember walking into your dressing room, and it was just a bunch of young dudes. You had a couple of wily vets like Darcy Tucker, but the core of your team were a bunch of young dudes, and you guys were supposed to be like the answer to the young Chicago Blackhawks roster, and thereby becoming like the NHL version of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, what happened to that whole crew? What happened to you guys?
I mean, it's kind of tough to really put a finger on it. You know, we had some key injuries that year, and
no, but 08 was like Detroit was like an all-star team. Like those guys, Zetterberg, Datsuk, Lidstrom, like those guys were Franzen. Those guys are ridiculous. Like I don't think there's any stopping those dudes in that year.
Yeah, I mean, we were just getting our feet wet at the time, and we gave them, you know, a good test, and the next year we kind of just fell apart. We had some key injuries and some losses, and in this business, this isn't a loss. They don't reward you for your losses in this business. So
That's right. Yeah.
they kind of broke up the young core of the team, and went our separate ways, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I got to St. Louis, and we started playing some real good hockey, and we're a good team who's going to be a force this year in the playoffs.
So you're from TO. Are you what neighborhood did you grow up in, TO?
I grew up in Scarborough.
Where in Scarborough?
Well, a few places. I grew up at Galloway and Lawrence at one point in my life, and then moved to Malvern at Morningside and Shepherd. So,
so for people listening to this in St. Louis, it's like you lived in like East St. Louis, basically, of Toronto.
Exactly.
I think Darius Miles was from East St. Louis. I interviewed him once a long time ago, and he said, like, East St. Louis was rough. Have you been to East St. Louis, like, for any charity events or any appearances, or just been to that side of that part of the city, getting lost in your nice car?
No, I got navigation. You tend not to get lost, but there is a strip club in St. Louis that you hear about the opposing teams going to. I haven't been there myself, but I've heard a few stories.
Wait, is that in St. Louis?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, in East. Is it in East St. Louis?
Exactly, it's across the bridge, East St. Louis.
Wow, so dudes are either fiending or they're brave to go frequent that particular adult entertainment playground.
It's just not worth it.
What's it called?
It's called Penthouse, actually.
That's outstanding. That is hilarious. So when you were you're from TO and you're from Scarborough, which isn't really actually. You guys do have a few talented hockey players come out. Like Wayne is from Scarborough too, right? Or is he from Markham?
No, he's from Scarborough.
Wayne Simmons from Scarborough. PK's from Markham, right?
I think he's from Rexdale.
Okay, yeah. The other side of the city. Who obviously your brother Anthony Stewart's from Scarborough. Who else is from Scarborough that plays in the NHL?
Joe Ward.
Yes, Ward. Yes.
Washington, yeah. I think that's it for the Scarborough boys.
Just brothers.
Maybe,
so just Scarborough just produced brothers in the NHL.
You know what? I think Sean Avery was from Scarborough, actually.
Okay, the brothers and Sean Avery. Chris,
bad example.
How did you know that your dream was even attainable? Being like a young black kid, you're out in the playground, you're playing Red Ass. Did you play Burby in public school too?
No, we played Salad with the pop can.
Oh my gosh, Salad Salad is probably one of the most vicious games ever. And like 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds are playing this game. Okay, so for people who don't know what this game is, please, Chris, tell the audience about the rules and what happens in the game of Salad.
Well, in Salad, it's usually played with a pop can, and you crush it down, and it's kind of like a mini soccer game. And the objective of the game is to kick it between the other guy's leg, and that happens. The can goes to your legs. You got to run for your life. When I mean run for your life, I've literally seen guys leave the schoolyard and go home. This game was no joke, and you're a young kid at the time, and you don't realize how wrong the game is, but you just catch a straight beatdown.
So this is the part that Chris is omitting from the game. Now I'm not sure if you played this differently than we did, but once the pop can or the tennis ball goes through your legs, you have to run and touch like a home base. It's usually a light pole or a sign in the playground or like some kind of pole which you're like home free. But on your way to the pole, as you're running and dodging, the other guys get to kick you. Did you guys play with kicks or punches?
I think it was just kicks.
Yeah. So we played with kicks as well. And I remember this one guy, his name was Clayton. And Clayton, he was far. Oh, Chris, he was far from the pole. He was probably like 30 feet 30 feet away. So like he had a good distance to travel, like 30 feet in a straight line. And whenever the ball or the can goes through your legs, you're never running a straight line. You are zigzagging your way, catching all kinds of drop kicks and roundhouses to your body as you're making it there. And Clayton, I remember vividly, he took like a roundhouse, but it was one of those roundhouses where the guy throwing the kick does like a full spin, like a spinning back kick, took it right in the stomach, and then he puked up his Doritos. No, it was Tostitos. So he started puking orange on the playground. And to make things worse, I think he had Tostitos and a C+. So it was just like, it was just an orange vomit spray. And dude, we were crying with laughter.
That sounds like Dave Chappelle. Everything's cooler in slow motion.
It really is. Did you ever catch a particularly bad one, you yourself?
No, I was fast back in the day, so I was good. And the thing about me when growing up in grade school, we had me, my brother, and our 5 sisters. So the Stewarts are like their own little mini gang. we were just like, you kind of just left them roam. There's 7 of them at one school at one point. So
really, but wait, Chris, did your sisters play also?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say those would be the toughest girls ever.
Oh, they would have been some good hockey players if they took up that route for sure.
So growing up in Scarborough, how did you know that your dream was attainable? Your dream of becoming an NHL player, and a pretty damn good one as well at that.
I mean, I think getting back to that, I just got to thank my brother. He was my role model at the time, and it is being a younger brother. You just want to do whatever your older brother's doing, and growing up, and still today, he was one hell of a hockey player, and he had some pretty big, set some pretty big boundaries. First round of the OHL, first round of the NHL, gold medal, silver medal. He set some pretty big footsteps, and I kind of just wanted to be like him, and I followed him all the way to the NHL.
He had a gold medal at the World Juniors. I think it was 2005, was it?
I think he was 2004. I think maybe
2004.
No, 2005. You're right.
Did they? Was that when were they in North Dakota? Or were they in Minneapolis in that one? I can't remember.
I think they won in Canada and they lost in Minnie. The one they lost was when Fleury shot the puck at Corbin's head and then it went in the net for the winning goal there.
Oh, right.
The next year was the super team with Crosby and Bergeron, Getzlaff, Perry. Just probably one of the best teams to ever take the ice.
Yeah, no doubt. So it was. So your brother, following his footsteps, was that was the realization that your dream could come true as well. Did you have that dream early on? Because we've never had this conversation before. Usually when we see each other, we're laughing about, either we're picking on somebody in the group, or we're just we're just commenting on people watching and just making some kind of commentary on that. Basically, we're being jerks to other people.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't think it hit me till probably I was 15, 16. I mean, I was always playing hockey, but at that point I took the year off from hockey and I was just trying to concentrate on football. I was a little bigger at the time, and financially, we weren't in a situation to really afford for me to play hockey. It was tough. We were growing up tough, and football was cheaper, and so I did that at the time. And then I remember sitting at my brother's draft in Nashville 15, and he ends up getting drafted first round with Florida Panthers. And just seeing the face on my parents, seeing the face on my parents at the time, and him, they're crying, and I realized if he could do it, there's if I put in the work, it was definitely going to be attainable for me. And from that day forward, I put everything into making the NHL.
When you guys, I'm on the phone with Chris Stewart of the St. Louis Blues, and when you and your brother Anthony are trash talking, or dare I say chirping each other about hockey, do you guys ever throw out each other's stats in order to insult each other?
I think back in the day, I think that used to be Anthony's go-to, but I don't think he can pull those cards anymore. So we just leave the chirps alone. We don't get into it about on ice.
Because now you could say, like, dude, I carried my team. I led my team in goals and points. Like, I was that dude. You could say that. Now, that's your trump card, and who knows how far you'll go in the playoffs. But that it could be another trump card or another card you can play in that game down the road.
Oh, exactly.
So you had like a great, turnaround season. And I was reading before we had this conversation, just reading up on you. And I read that you changed your diet before your season, before the season. What did you change?
I mean, I changed trainers for actually too. I went to Matt Nickel down at BioSteel at St. Mike's Arena there, Bathurst and St. Clair, and we had a blood test done early in the summer to get the because he thought something was up. He's like, you're an NHL player, and I always had problem putting weight on during the season, and he thought there's maybe something going on, and maybe there's an allergy, and he had me tested, and it came out rice. I don't know how it got to brown rice. I think one of the reporters, made it brown rice. I guess they didn't want it to be white rice, but it's all rice. it's any kind of rice. And,
so wait, it's any kind of rice. Are you allergic to rice, or what is it about rice?
Yeah, just allergic to rice in general. So no rice, and growing up, 7 kids. There's only one way to feed 7 kids, and that's rice.
Yeah, no doubt.
And especially being, Jamaican descent, there's a lot of rice and peas growing up and stuff like that, which sucks now. You can't have any rice and peas, which is a huge downer. And so I cut that out of the diet, and I just switched to having a lot of protein and a lot of vegetables, and I've never felt better.
So wait, like all those years growing up in Toronto, you're eating rice and peas probably every meal. Rice and peas and
well, not every meal.
Well, not every. Okay, sorry. Okay, probably rice and peas probably 4 times a week for dinner.
Yeah, easily.
Or rice with every dinner, with one meal of the day. Look, my dad's Jamaican, my mom's Trinidad, and we probably had the same diet, except that I probably drank more Pepsi and ate a lot more chips than you did, because I'm a lot fatter than you'll ever be. But so all those years when you're eating rice, did it ever affect did you ever notice that it was affecting your body other than you were just a huge kid, like hugely muscular?
I mean, it was hard to notice until I was actually off of it. And then once I was off of it in the first 3 months, I probably lost 25, 30 pounds easily.
Are you serious?
So, yeah. So, I mean, I remember when I got weighed in at the time, I was probably closer to 250, and then coming into camp, I was, during the lockout at one point, I was probably closer to 218, 220. So, I noticed it's a huge difference, and I've never felt better on the ice.
When was the last time you made your own meal?
My own meal? Breakfast this morning.
Okay. No, I mean, okay, like I'm going to say either lunch or dinner. Like you're at home, you're cutting up peppers, you're slicing up, a steak or whatever, seasoning, like all that. When was the last time you made one of those meals?
Oh, I mean, we cook a lot between me and my fiance. We do a lot of home cooking. And,
yeah, but you're saying we. I'm talking about you. You're saying we.
No, me personally. Me personally, I'm just in charge of the meat. I season it up and I turn on the barbecue, and that's as much as I bring to the table in the kitchen.
Okay, so you haven't had you haven't prepared like the full dinner. You have
no.
Wifey's like, okay, listen, you're gonna do this one thing because that's all I trust you with is this one thing. You can't screw up barbecue, really.
Exactly. I'm straight on the protein. I get to go up there and give it my 20 minutes of fame, and I bring it down.
Who's the now, when you make your barbecue, do you go like a lot of barbecue sauce, or do you make it with an extra, like a bit of spice?
Yeah, spice for sure. I used to be a Tabasco guy, but ever since I've been in the States now for 5-6 years, I got this hot sauce called Cholula, and it's been it's been a good switch.
Cholula, is that the brand or is that the type?
No, well that's the brand, but it's
Cholula.
called Cholula, and it's unbelievable.
Okay, I'm gonna look for it. Who's the guy? Who's the player on your team, your teammate, that benefits from like the best genetics so that he can eat all the garbage he wants and it doesn't seem to faze him?
On my team?
Yeah.
I'd say Andy McDonald, man. This guy literally has 3% body fat. He's absolutely just a specimen, ripped, and he does take care of himself, but he's one of those guys that you just see always in the room. He's always eating something. He's always, there's always something in his hand, but his metabolism is probably one of the fastest.
So that dude can like crush like 4 slices of pizza, no problem, or like right before a game or after. I know afterwards sometimes they'll leave a couple of large pizzas in the room there for you guys. But he's the dude where he's either late night snacking or just can eat like anything and it doesn't bug him.
I mean, I don't know if it's like that, but if there's going to be one guy that I could literally see, so like you said, Simmons, he could eat McDonald's for lunch, pizza for dinner, and have literally late night Burger King at 2 a.m, and he's waking up 3 pounds later.
Wayne Simmons is absolutely a specimen. Like it's just like genetically, it doesn't make sense. Like that dude has the smallest legs I've ever seen in my life for a grown man. Oh,
I kid you not. He could literally eat whatever he wants, and he'll wake up lighter. It's the one summer I lived with him, man. I tried that for literally 2 days. I put on 10 pounds. That's not me.
I'm just like you, man. I just ate a freaking Dairy Queen on the weekend, and I put on like 4 pounds. I'm like, and I was going for I went for like a nice long like Sunday afternoon, like 90-minute walk. Jump on the scale the next day, I'm 4 pounds heavier. I'm like, what the hell? It sucks. It sucks for guys like me. You might have a similar thing where we just like the littlest thing could just boom, just tacking on the weight. It sucks.
Oh, easily. If I don't watch what I eat, I can blow up, no problem.
So you mentioned Wayne Simmons in Philadelphia. I had a conversation with James Van Riemsdyk of the Toronto Maple Leafs last week, and I was saying to him, like, historically, the Montreal Canadiens are the Toronto Maple Leafs rival. But recently, like in the last decade or so, the rival has been like Philadelphia or Boston. And I think he said maybe Boston has been more the rival. Now they're matched up in the first round. Who's your team's rival?
St. Louis, it's Chicago or Detroit. I'd say more Chicago. You go to a game in St. Louis versus the Blackhawks, and there's arguably more Blackhawks fans there. They get pretty intense, and every time you play the Blackhawks, it seems like every time there's a whistle, there's something going on. There's a fight. There's something like.
Really?
You go to the net. There's a whistle. Someone just punches you in the face, and the reason it's just old school. Like every time you play the Blackhawks, there's a bunch of shenanigans going on. That's for sure.
Now, did you inherit this rivalry, or did it start like when you were there, like when you got there?
Yeah, I had no problems with the Blackhawks once I got to St. Louis, but now that I'm here, we don't like those guys.
So before, when you played in Colorado, there was no real, you're playing, obviously you're competitive and you're playing against them, whatever, but it was no rivalry like it is now with St. Louis.
No, not at all. I mean, we had a little one with Detroit, which was more late 90s and early 2000s, when you saw those brawls early in the playoffs with the Red Wings Avalanche, but, it kind of died down when I was there.
Now, I was, this is like got to be weird for you when, as an athlete, I know there's a code, okay? And I know, like, you guys just can't, like, throw dudes under the bus. You guys just can't have public conversations like you would privately. And I asked JVR this last week, how much self-editing do you do when a reporter asks you about an opponent and you don't really like that person, but you have to be like, it's almost like you have to lie and say nice things, like say that you respect his game, he's a tough competitor. Like you have to come up with those kind of phrasing, but how much self-editing do you do when asked those kinds of questions?
I mean, I think that's just hockey in general. I think you have that much respect for your opponents that even if...
Wait, but now you're giving me the same... I don't want the same thing. Chris, I don't want that. I'm asking you about it. I don't want you to get... Don't give me the same answer, dude.
No, I know. You know how it is, though. You have that respect for your opponent that you don't want to throw them under the bus or, say something that you don't mean, but I mean, if it was a specific player that I really had feelings about and you asked me and I don't like them, I'd probably just say I really don't care for that person too much.
Okay, so who don't you care for?
How long you got? How long is this podcast? No, but I mean, I don't know. There's those certain guys in the league that, those pests that are always in your ear, like, and that's your job. But you look like a guy, like you said in the rival against Chicago, Andrew Shaw. He's one of those guys that, every time you see him on the ice, you definitely want to finish a check on him.
Ah, okay. So you gave me one. You gave me one, Andrew Shaw, who's a pest. So like when you guys, now how many times a year do you play Chicago? Like twice, or is it 3 times?
I think we played them 6 times this year in the shortened season.
Are you kidding? Come on.
Yeah. I think it was like 4 in the first 2 weeks too, or something crazy like that.
And this is when they went on that unbelievable run where they they weren't losing for like the first 2 months.
Yeah.
So when you're okay, now when that team is clicking, like, are they telling you that they're that good? Like whether it's a scrum or just before the whistle blows or they throw the puck down, you're lining up against people. Like, are those things said in the heat of the battle?
I mean, I don't think they really chirp, but they definitely, they carry themselves with that persona where they know that no matter what's going on in the game that they can come back or, they're going to pull it out. And I think you got to play with that confidence to win in the league this year. But I think early in the season, everything was clicking. You'd be playing them, you'd be up 2 goals, and then literally 2 minutes later, they'd score 3 on you, like in a matter of 2 minutes. So, they got a high-power offense and some gifted players, and they're a pretty dangerous team.
Who's the guy on your team that makes you laugh the most? Whether it's
Ryan Reeves, 100%.
I didn't even have to qualify the question, like whether it's unintentional or intentional. But Ryan Reeves?
Oh man, just like anything, only stuff that happens to him happens to him. Like only like this kind of stuff, the kind of story he'd tell you, it could only happen to him. It wouldn't happen to anyone else, Like it's just a typical Reaver story.
So is he the guy that like on the way to the rink, like he'll get a flat tire, and then when he's inspecting his flat tire, a truck will drive by and splash a whole puddle of water on him, and then as he's walking back to get into his car, a seagull will fly over and crap on his head, and then on his way to the rink, he gets pulled over for speeding by a guy. He's that kind of guy?
Exactly. Typical Ryan Reeves, only guy in the league that can pull out a black suit with a white tie, white belt, and white shoes. It's typical Reaver right there.
Okay, so it sounds like you. So that outfit that you described on Ryan, like how does he get it bad from the teammates? Like when he shows up on the bus and that's what he's rocking?
But the thing is, I picked him up and he gets in the car. And I size him up and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Are you seriously gonna wear this to the rink?" He was a rookie at the time, and I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna wear this." I'm like, "All right." I didn't say anything. He gets to the rink. Within 3 seconds of walking in the room, everybody all over him, just chirping him.
It was because of the white belt, white shoes combo, isn't it?
Oh. And the thing is, too, I think the shoes are like Skechers, too. It was like a CrossFit dress shoe, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like an all-purpose white shoe. Like, he was all over what's going on.
I know the exact ones you're talking about. The funny thing is because you guys are all professional athletes and you guys make very comfortable livings, like your style game has to step up. Like you're not, and it's got to be kind of tough for you guys because you just grow up being a blue collar dude. You'll go to the mall, you'll go to an Aldo and buy shoes for $110 like the rest of us do. But now because of your paycheck, you're like, oh, I gotta go to Holt Renfrew now, or I gotta go to Neiman Marcus or whatever and buy my shoes just because. So this dude is obviously just like he's keeping it real. Is what he's doing.
Oh, Reaver, he's keeping it real. He's keeping it real. That's for sure.
I was I often have this conversation with my friends here in TO, and it always comes up in the summertime. Mm-hmm. Now, walking around the street, and Toronto, beautiful city, women-wise, one of the best cities in Canada. Certainly, I'd say in the top 10, maybe top 5 in North America as far as the aesthetics of the female population. But here's my question to you, and I'm on the phone with Chris Stewart of the St. Louis Blues. You can follow him on Twitter at CStewSTL25. Chris, I ask you this question. What is the biggest enhancer of a woman's apparel? Like the piece of the garment or the accessory that tricks you the most often? Is it the Lululemon pants? Is it the big frame sunglasses or the push-up bra?
I mean, I think the sunglasses. I think the sunglasses for sure. I think you like you said, every girl looks good in sunglasses, right? At the end, but you kind of notice that for sure.
I'm with you. Like, I get tricked, and it's weird. Like, you might be on a patio, and then the girl takes, like, the sunglasses makes every girl, as you said, makes her look more attractive. And then when she takes, like, a girl can, like, fall, like, 2 or 3 points once the sunglasses come off, because then you see the shape of her eyes, the color of her eyes, like sometimes the eyes might be too close to the nose. You know what I mean? Sometimes
the antis.
The cheekbones might be a little higher than you thought. And to be fair to the female listeners, from what I've learned is that the accessory, the two things that guys wear to sort of hide well, maybe not yours, because you're a friggin' rock. The thing that the accessories that we use to trick women about our own bodies are baseball caps, because so many dudes are bald or balding, and shirts, not form-fitting shirts, just like loose-fitting shirts to cover up that friggin' spare tire that many of us have around our stomachs. Is there a guy? Who's the guy that you know that is always in a baseball cap because his hair game he's not very proud of his genetics?
On my team, you got Kevin Shattenkirk, who has a bit of like the boys like to call a monkey bum.
Oh my God! What does that even mean?
It's like the kid has sickest flow in the league, but on the little middle of the head there, it's a little bare, and that's fine. I think he's come to accept it, but.
So wait.
I think,
so wait.
The back middle of your head there's just no hair.
Oh, so wait. So he's got like long curls, like he's got curly wavy hair, but that little patch, like it's starting to form like a little hockey rink in that one part of his head back there.
Exactly, but he rocks it, and he rocks it proud, and more power to him.
So and so does that dude wear a lot of baseball caps?
Yeah, he wears a lot of hats, and sometimes when you go out, there's some places that you can't wear a hat there.
So they call him monkey. Oh, you guys are. So that's a monkey bum is what you guys call that dude.
Yeah.
This is the best podcast ever, dude. This is just unbelievable anecdotes that you're giving me, man. That's awesome. So we mentioned, we spoke about Ryan Reeves' personal style. What do you make of the hipster movement in the NBA led by Russell Westbrook for sure? Russell Westbrook, James Harden, D. Wade, who else? Brandon Jennings the other day had an awful looking shirt. What do you make of this movement? And do you think that this hipster couture could work in the NHL?
I mean, I think it's in. I think 2013. I think that's what's in. You see the glasses and the bright color V-necks and the tight jeans. Like I think it's in. But for me personally, I mean, have you ever seen my legs, Cabbie? I don't think I'm going to look too good in a pair of tight jeans. I just don't think it's going to work for me personally. And as far as hockey players, I think some guys can pull it off, but I think the way we're built, I think our quads and our glutes are too big for those. As
Jay-Z says, I don't wear skinny jeans because my knot's too big or my knot's too thick. He says.
because my knots don't fit.
That's right. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So,
exactly. But
so
I don't hate if guys can pull it off. That's to each his own.
But when you do you is there a guy on your team that has particularly good style, like other than yourself? Because I'm sure your style is great. When I've seen you, we've always been it's been like the summertime. That one time we had dinner in Chicago, and you're wearing a suit. You had your game was very clean. But is there a guy that has particularly good style? Like he puts his outfits together, with a sharp sense.
I'd say on my team, the two Swedes on my team, Alex Steen and Patrick Berglund, they definitely take a little extra pride in their appearance. And Bergie's known to spend a lot on his suits. He likes to dress sharp.
You meant you mentioned the two European dudes, and as you know, European fashion, it's a little slimmer, tighter fit, generally speaking, for the garments. Do those guys rock like the skinny ties and the skinny jeans?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing about it, we got a Russian on our team. He's a good buddy of mine, Vladdy Tarasenko. Like he'll just show up in like literally a tracksuit, right? Like literally a tracksuit. We're like, bro, he's like, some rug? He's like, well, what do you mean, bro? This is Dolce & Gabbana. like legit. He's like, this is Dolce, bro. I'm like, all right, man.
That's so funny. But does he show up in like an orange or like a yellow tracksuit?
Just like plain gray, regular jumpsuit. He's like, oh, this is Dolce, no big deal.
That's so funny, man. That is, and like tracksuits, they had a good run. Remember when tracksuits like those velour suits had a good 2-year run, like 03-ish, 02 to 04.
That's all my dad rocks. He's all about the tracksuits, man. He used to have this tracksuit back in the day. One way it was purple. He turned the other way it was orange. He turned the other way it was green. Like this thing was sick.
See, but grown men, they get a pass because of their age and their wisdom. So like a grown man, he could rock that, and your pops, I'm sure, rocked it with pride. Was it one of those tracksuits that changed color in the sun, or was it actually multicolored, different?
No, exactly. It changed in the sun.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay. Like those old Vuarnet shirts. That might be before your time, or like Oakley had those, the Oakley lenses that change color when you look certain.
Exactly.
It's one of those.
Just like that.
Chris, I'll get you out of here on this, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm on the phone with Chris Stewart of the St. Louis Blues. A few weeks ago, Rihanna sort of tore up Facebook and Twitter here in Ontario when she was photographed in Los Angeles wearing an Ottawa Senators jersey. And she was wearing no shorts and no pants, just the jersey. And she was going to a club or a restaurant or something. Can you name 3 entertainers or Hollywood starlets that you would like to see pose in your St. Louis Blues jersey standing next to a piano?
I mean, off the top of my head, not that there's any pressure right now. Not like my fiance's not staring at me like.
Well, listen, her aside, because she's not a starlet or an entertainer, she's wifey. So, this is just a hypothetical you can tell her.
No, I'd say Megan Good for one.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna go Eva Longoria, 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mila Kunis, 3.
That's a good list, man.
Yeah, it's kind of opposite from the 3 guys I gave you earlier. There's no real common denominator.
You're right. There's a little more diversity in the selections in that one.
Exactly.
Chris, it's been a pleasure. As I said before, a pleasure speaking with you. Good luck in the playoffs, man. And for those at home, once again, to follow. Are you on Instagram also?
No Instagram.
So just Twitter. So C Stew STL25. That's his handle on Twitter. Good luck on the playoffs. Maybe I'll see you on the journey. Haven't decided yet which series I'm going to go check, but I might see you, and if not, I'll see you in the summertime, my dude.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Cabbie.
All right, my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Cabbie Presents, the podcast.